Mount Olympus, a prominent geological formation, held profound significance for the ancient Greeks. It was not merely a mountain, but was revered as the sacred dwelling place of their principal deities. This belief positioned Olympus as the central hub of divine power and influence in their mythology. The perception of Olympus as the divine abode deeply shaped the ancient Greek worldview. It influenced their understanding of the cosmos, human destiny, and moral conduct. Consequently, this belief system profoundly impacted their religious practices and cultural identity. For over a millennium, Greek civilization was deeply permeated by the divine presence. Gods were believed to inhabit and influence natural phenomena across the landscape. Their influence extended to daily routines and human emotions, shaping all aspects of life. This demonstrates a pervasive and integral religious presence throughout ancient Greek society. Ancient Greek religion was characterized by a focus on orthopraxy, or right practice. This meant that actions and rituals were paramount in their religious observance. In contrast, many other religions emphasize orthodoxy, which means right belief. Orthodoxy prioritizes adherence to specific doctrines, creeds, or theological beliefs. For ancient Greeks, the performance of rituals held more significance than doctrinal agreement. Ancient Greek religious traditions have deep roots, tracing back to the Bronze Age. Evidence from Minoan Crete reveals early forms of religious practice. These practices included the worship of goddesses, indicating early divine reverence. Minoan Crete thus represents a foundational period for later Greek religious development. Mycenaean citadels served as centers for religious practices in ancient Greece. Kings within these citadels performed significant religious rituals. These rituals often involved making sacrifices to various deities. Deities such as Zeus, Poseidon, and Dionysus were worshipped during this era. The names of these gods later became central figures in the Greek pantheon. This demonstrates a clear continuity in religious practices from Mycenaean to later Greek periods. Linear B tablets are ancient clay tablets from the Mycenaean civilization. These tablets contain the earliest known written references to Greek deities. Gods such as Zeus, Poseidon, and Athena are explicitly mentioned in these texts. This evidence predates classical Greek mythology by several centuries. It demonstrates that the framework of the Greek pantheon was already established. Following the collapse of Mycenaean civilization, Greece entered a period known as the Dark Age. Despite societal disruption, established religious traditions persisted through this era. These traditions were primarily preserved and transmitted orally by poets and storytellers. This oral transmission was crucial for maintaining cultural memory and continuity during the Dark Age. By the 8th century BCE, Homer's epics, the Iliad and Odyssey, became foundational texts. These works provided a coherent and structured understanding of the Greek gods. Homer's narratives established distinct personalities, roles, and relationships for the deities. This divine framework solidified the pantheon for ancient Greek society. The epics profoundly shaped religious beliefs and practices. Homer's influence endured for over 1,000 years, defining Greek religion. Ancient Greek religion centered on a pantheon of powerful deities. The 12 Olympian gods formed the core of this religious system. These Olympians were the primary focus of worship and offerings. Their influence extended throughout the entire Greek world. While older divine entities existed, the Olympians held paramount religious significance. Zeus, the king of the Olympian gods, held supreme authority over the cosmos. He was famously associated with the thunderbolt, a symbol of his immense power and dominion. Zeus utilized his power to maintain divine order and enforce justice among gods and mortals. Hera, his wife and queen, was revered as the goddess of marriage and childbirth. Her domain reflected the critical societal importance of family, matrimony, and fertility in ancient Greek culture. Poseidon, a prominent Olympian deity, held dominion over the seas and all aquatic phenomena. He wielded a powerful trident, capable of causing devastating earthquakes and storms. Athena, another powerful Olympian, was uniquely born from the head of Zeus, the king of gods. She embodied wisdom, strategic warfare, and became the revered patron deity of the city of Athens. Apollo and Artemis are prominent twin deities in Greek mythology, born to Zeus and Leto. Apollo embodies reason, music, poetry, and prophecy, often depicted with a lyre or bow. His oracle at Delphi was a revered site, providing guidance for significant decisions and future events. Artemis, his twin sister, is the goddess of the hunt, wilderness, and wild animals. She is also revered as the protector of young girls and a patron of childbirth. Both siblings wielded bows and arrows, symbolizing their power and distinct domains. Hermes, a prominent figure in Greek mythology, was recognized by his distinctive winged sandals. He served as the divine messenger, facilitating communication between gods and mortals. Beyond his role as a messenger, Hermes also guided souls on their journey to the underworld. In contrast, Ares embodied the violent and brutal aspects of warfare within the Greek pantheon. Aphrodite, the Greek goddess, embodied love, desire, and beauty. Her essence was grace and allure, representing the aesthetic ideals of divinity. Hephaestus, in contrast, was the lame god of blacksmiths and craftsmen. He forged divine weaponry and armor within his volcanic workshops, a master of creation. Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, ritual madness, and ecstasy, embodied liberation and the dissolution of boundaries. Demeter, the goddess of agriculture, harvest, and fertility, oversaw the natural cycles of growth and sustenance. Her profound grief for her daughter Persephone was believed to explain the changing seasons. Together, these deities represented fundamental aspects of nature, human experience, and the cyclical order of life. Greek gods are central figures in a rich tapestry of mythological narratives. These deities were often depicted with human-like bodies, reflecting their anthropomorphic nature. They possessed a full spectrum of human emotions, from love and joy to anger and jealousy. Despite their divine status, they exhibited flaws and imperfections, making them relatable. Their interactions formed complex relationships, driving many of the mythological plots. These myths, while not scripture, conveyed profound truths about the world and divine power. In ancient Greek daily life, stone pillars known as herms were common features in urban and rural settings. Each herm typically featured the head of the god Hermes, often depicted with a beard. These pillars served practical functions, marking boundaries and guiding travelers along roads and paths. Herms also provided spiritual protection, integrating divine presence directly into public and private spaces. In ancient Greek homes, the hearth held profound cultural and religious significance. It was considered a sacred focal point within every household. The hearth was dedicated to Hestia, the revered goddess of the household and domestic life. As a mark of reverence, a portion of every meal was offered to Hestia at the hearth. This practice symbolized the deep integration of religious rituals into daily domestic routines. The hearth thus represented the spiritual and communal heart of the ancient Greek family. In ancient Greece, libation was a common ritual performed before consuming wine. This practice involved pouring a small amount of wine onto the ground. The act served as an offering and a gesture of reverence to the gods. It demonstrated a pervasive ritualistic acknowledgement of divine presence. This ritual integrated spiritual devotion into everyday activities. Libations were a fundamental aspect of Greek religious and social life. The relationship between ancient Greeks and their gods was fundamentally transactional. This interaction was governed by the principle of do ut des. Translated, do ut des means I give so that you may give. Greeks made offerings to deities as part of this exchange. These offerings were given with the expectation of receiving divine favor. Divine protection and blessings were anticipated in return for their piety. A sanctuary, also known as a temenos, is a designated sacred area. It is set apart from ordinary use, signifying its special religious purpose. Each sanctuary is dedicated to a specific deity or deities. These sacred spaces could be established within urban centers. Alternatively, sanctuaries were often located in rural settings, away from cities. A temple, situated within a sacred sanctuary, served as the dwelling for a deity's cult statue. This statue was believed to embody the physical presence of the god within the temple grounds. Religious rituals and offerings, including sacrifices, were performed at an outdoor altar. The temple and its altar were central to ancient religious practices and community life. Animal sacrifice was a central ritual act in ancient religious practices. It was typically performed at an altar, a sacred structure dedicated to deities. Animals like pigs, sheep, goats, or oxen were offered as sacrificial victims. The ritual involved pouring the animal's blood on the altar and burning specific parts. This act was a form of offering, intended to honor or appease a god. Following a sacrificial ritual, the remaining meat was prepared for consumption. This prepared meat was then shared among worshippers in a communal feast. The feast served as a shared meal, fostering unity among participants. It also held symbolic significance, binding the community with the divine. This practice reinforced social bonds and spiritual connections within the group. The Pan-Hellenic Games were significant ancient Greek festivals, including the Olympic Games. These games united Greeks from various city-states in peaceful competition. Their primary purpose was to honor Zeus and other deities through athletic and cultural contests. During the games, warfare was suspended, ensuring safe passage for all participants and spectators.